Alright, hello everybody, Silver here. We are back with some more. Uh, okay. Let's see what we can do here. Oh wait, is there a new event open? Anthems of the Night. Oh, so it's like Spook Shack event. Oh, this is a big one, I think. This is a bigger one. This one might turn into a Redo Chronicle. I'll go do that in a minute. That one might be a Redo Chronicle type mission. Or type event. Which do stay around regardless. They always stay. Like all of the Redo Chronicles. So I've been talking with people. And it's quite divisive on this topic. Okay, so if you're watching this video, I assume you've played a bit or know a little bit about some of the characters and stuff in Zenless Zone Zero. I'll assume that. I know assuming makes an ass out of you and me, but we'll assume for now. Just so you can go along with what I'm about to say. So, this bit of divisive topic that me and some people have been talking about. Some of them are saying one way, some are saying the other. And it's specifically about the walking snap animation that Promea has. On one hand, it's hot. Like, it makes her, it's kind of like a sexy-ish walk while she doesn't have her cloak on. Yeah, sure. But with her characterization and how the rest of her moves feel, it doesn't quite make sense to me. But again, this was heavily divisive in the group I was talking with. It's a heavily divisive topic that, oh, hey, it's a great animation. Doesn't matter. But, like, thematically, I don't feel it fits her. Just in general. It feels weird thematically and, just based on how she is as a character and what she's supposed to be. It doesn't feel right. It feels, like, out of place for her. Because she's, what, a cold, ruthless assassin, right? She kills people. That's her job. She's supposed to be cold, heartless, ruthless, But she's just got this one animation that, like, clashes with that whole aspect of her. So if you don't know, I'll go ahead and say this. With Promea, there's a part of her kit where she can just, like, throw her cloak on an enemy, and then it'll stay on them, just spinning rapidly. And while that's happening, you are forced into a walk animation, where you can move around wherever you want. The game lagged hard there. You can move around wherever you want, do all of that. And she sits there snapping while she's walking, right? That just doesn't fit the cold, ruthless assassin vibe. That feels much more something like, again, I mentioned this, that it feels something more like Evelyn would do, because while she is like a bodyguard and similar to Promea, we haven't gotten enough characterization for Promea for that to feel right. And what I'm hoping is that they might just, like, eventually give us more characterization for that. and I won't have to, like, worry too much about it. But currently, it feels weird, right? It feels just, like, so off for her, specifically. And it's not that it's a bad animation or, you know, anything like that. It's a very good animation. Like, the animation of it looks very nice. It looks cool. It just doesn't fit her character. And I feel like, again, if they made her character a bit different, that could have easily fit, for sure. It could have. However, they haven't done that yet. They haven't given her enough characterization for that to make sense. Which is sad. I've noticed this for a long time. This ties in. I've noticed this for a long time with ZZZ lately. I say a long time. It's been since I started playing, which isn't a long time, really. But I've noticed this, that we're lacking a lot of agent stories. Like, certain agents have stories, and a lot don't, right? And, like, a lot of characters that you would want characterization for, ones that you're like, oh, I'd love to know the background of this character and, like, the story of this character. We don't get that. And you would think, if they were going to bring it back, when S-Rank Ambi came out, Sambi, when she came out, she was given a... She was given an agent story, right? And it explained a bit of her background, you know? She had that. But this time, they didn't do that. They really didn't. And the story that we do get, I'm not... Are they expecting that that is gonna compensate? Like, genuinely? Because I don't feel it does. I really don't. I don't feel the story, the very short parts where it's like Lighter mentioning, you know, how he looks like his old self, and if he's come back to being like that, you know, it doesn't, like, give us an agent story. It doesn't go into the lore that much. It's just, like, vague. And there's been a lack of just agent stories in general ever since, like, Lucia came out. There hasn't been another agent story. Which is sad. Because those were good. Like, they were very good for making you like or dislike a character more. It was, like, a reason to, you know, pull for that character for some people, I'm sure. Being like, oh, this character was so much different than I thought they would be, you know? This is their story, you know, this is how they are. And also some of the comedic elements of certain ones. Like, there's that one, Bernice. Like, Bernice is completely comedic on hers, really. There was never any, like, real backstory to it. But that's the thing people like about Bernice a little bit. Is her cheery attitude, I would assume. I'm not, like, a Bernice fan myself. She's hot, but, like, I'm not somebody I would say is a Bernice fan. But I liked her agent story because it was just silly. It was goofy. And I also liked characters like Seed's agent story, where she talks about, you know, having been, like, you actually get the background on, like, Seed Sr. and everything, how she came to the name Seed. That kind of stuff. I really like that. it feels good. It makes it feel more like it makes you care more for the character. Like I cared more for Seed after that, genuinely. After playing it, which I did recently, it made me care more for Seed as a character because it feels less like her fault that she is the way she is. Uh, it genuinely makes it feel more like, oh hey, you know, she just doesn't understand. Which again, like it makes you want a character or dislike a character more, depending. Uh, and it just gives you more lore for the world itself, which they have stopped doing quite as much. It's kind of like Lucia's Hati thing. Uh, specific Chestnut specifically. Uh, it brings up the idea that you know not all ethereals are just inherently, you know, gonna kill somebody. It gives you this aspect of like, oh, there's more to ethereals because we know they were living beings at one point. They were humans. They were, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just like Lucia with her dad, the wandering hunter. Uh, it's genuinely something that's an interesting concept that they could expand a bit more on. Uh, as well as like just give us more lore for the characters that we like. Give us more reasons to fucking actually pull a character even. You don't have to have it so just oh hey, you get what comes in the story. Whatever comes in the story is the lore you get. Fuck off if you want extra. Because we don't really get much outside of that. We might get a little bit of lore from, let's say, you know, events or something. But we don't get nowhere near enough. I feel. I don't feel we get nowhere near enough lore for all of the characters. Like, maybe I want to see more of the relationship between fucking Monato and his, like, quote-unquote brothers and sisters, you know? The kids that he takes care of. Maybe I want to see that more. You know, give us actual, like, agent stories instead of just relegating side content to just events and then nothing else. And not even, like, good side content that tells you more about the characters. It's just, like, lazy kind of slop side content that's, oh, hey, some extra stuff that's preparing you for the next arc. Like, you could still do that. I wouldn't complain. But the fact that you don't do anything else is the problem. Just genuinely. They should 100% just give us more on that, like, front. Genuinely. I want more story. I want to know more of the lore of this fucking game. You know what I mean? But we don't get that. We just don't. Hold on. Before I do that, let me count how much I need. Oh, wait. Do I get one of these? I don't. Why not? Why not? Why did it put this? Oh. I forgot. I've never clicked this, really. It's just never, I've never looked at this. But yeah, no, it's... That's like my biggest gripe with this game, is there's just not enough that we get in terms of lore. 15 plus 30, so 45, so I need 40.
You want to become a hero too? Huh? Woohoo! Up on the bike!
I'll do it through this. I prefer to do it this way. I genuinely feel like we deserve a bit more, especially if we're gonna be like, if they expect people to poll for characters often, and they want to do, you know, a whole lot of power. You have to make the characters also interesting enough. You can't like slack on the story even. You have to make the world interesting. You have to make the characters interesting. You have to give us lore on the characters. Because, like, this would have been the perfect time for them to have worked on some agent stories for some of the characters that we don't have them for. Specifically, like, Billy and shit. They could be waiting, but I don't feel like they are waiting for that. They're just not wanting to do that. Because an agent story kind of just gives players more options to not spend money. When an agent story could genuinely make someone, you know, want to pull for a certain character that they don't have yet. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted to re-up that buff. But yeah, no, that's... I feel like that's not even too much to ask for. Because Hoyo is a big fucking company. They make a lot of money off of their gacha games. Genuinely. That was the probably worst time to do that. I'm just gonna Lucio real quick. Re-up some buffs. Die. I could do this 2 times. Because this is important. This is something that I do need to do. I do need to genuinely get this leveled up. And I can't, like, battery this. I can't just use batteries to do this. You have to use, like... You can't use, like, ether batteries. That's what I mean. You have to use actual, like, battery charge to be able to get these. So basically, you can't auto it. But, no, I really don't feel like that's a big ask of anybody to be able to, like, have more story for the game that's, you know, for a gacha game that you want to know about the characters, you want to know the fucking story of. It's just not a lot to ask for. And I really don't feel like it is. I really don't feel it is a lot to ask for. Because there are very likely people who are like, oh, you know, Why would you expect that kind of thing? Why would you expect that out of a gacha game when it's like that's the point of a gacha game is to pull for the characters you like and liking the characters, like actually the point of it. You can't even say it's not the point because that's the reason people are like upset is that you have to pay for the fucking characters a lot of times. When like if the characters are too shallow or just don't have lore to them, like really, what are you doing? You just make a collab game, include every fucking character under the sun, and call it a day, right? Like, just pay for licensing, don't even care about the story, just go do a fucking match game. Like, even fighting games have more stories sometimes with characters. To be fair. And it's a fucking fighting game. Like, I'm just one of those people that I really like lore in a game. I love lore in games. I love, you know, figuring out about a character. It very much, like, hits that certain itch for me. It hits a certain itch. You know? And the fact that this game hasn't been trying to and is actively like stopping doing one of the cooler things that it did with like agent stories. It's just that's just like again, I understand Hoyo, they have a lot of games that they make. They just, you know, make a ton of app games, or app games. They make a ton of gacha games and kind of just ride off of a gacha game until it's done, and then, you know, get rid of it type of thing. I get that. I do. I understand it. However, why? You could keep it running. You could keep it going. You could make it good. You could make it unique. They don't all have to exist within the quote-unquote Hoyo-verse. Like, a lot of the Fate series, while it does have interconnected lore, they have a reason to have interconnected lore to begin with. But each, like, Fate series that you see is kind of self-enclosed. Like, they don't necessarily reference the other ones a lot. Like, Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night, that whole series is enclosed as opposed to, like, Fate Apocrypha. Or, you know, it's not, like, super interconnected. It's loosely connected, yes. It even, like, I mean, I guess it has, like, the same systems, but the character's nowhere near the same. Unless it has the same exact character itself, physically. They're not, like, one-to-one copies. Unless it's, again, specifically, like, Gilgamesh. Who is always going to be Gilgamesh. No matter what Fate series he's in, he is Gilgamesh. Like, they're just different. You know? And you don't have to keep it all the same. And again, like, Fate has so much lore for each of the characters. Sure, the lore is technically, like, I don't really care about the story to this. Technically, I guess, like, certain parts of the lore are already pre-established, like, the characters themselves, like the mythological figures, the historical figures, they all have, like, their own technical lore. But it's genuinely just, like, make lore for the characters, please. Just genuinely. Truth behind strange incidents. Drive away those pesky critters. Electric demon. Okay. But no, it's I genuinely want them to cuz I want this game to kind of hold up on its own, you know? I don't want it to just become a fucking oh hey, it's another Hoyo vs Gotcha. Haha. You know, we fall into all of the same fucking tropes that every Hoyo game does. Like you can't come up with something new. Just genuinely. I want it games shouldn't be, you know, every game that you make that's supposed to be its own separate universe is just the exact same as the last game. We are way past that. If you want that type of thing, genuinely, if you want the same game fucking regurgitated over and over, play fucking Halo. Play a FIFA game. Play any game, or not Halo. I meant Call of Duty. Halo is weird. So the older Halos are peak. The newer Halos, not so much. But the Call of Duty series, where it's just regurgitated the same fucking gameplay, the same, you know, multiplayer, the same everything. Everything is the exact fucking same. You know? Then you have shit like any sports game, because it's a sports game. I mean, sports games have one of two outcomes. One team loses, while one team wins, you know? Like, you either lose or win. Doesn't matter. It's just ridiculous that we're still regurgitating the same fucking concepts over and over. The same, oh, we're the same company, we're one company, so all of our games are gonna be the exact fucking same every time. Like, genuinely have some originality with it. You can have them all be gacha games. That could be your thing. But make each one feel unique. Please? For the love of God? Midnight Hauntings, Haunting Shadow. It forced me to do that. Okay, Heart of a Child. Dude, I've never seen anything this freaky. Must have been waiting for me to be gone so I could secretly play games. I love. Okay, it's so funny that now all of a sudden, like before early game, like in the earlier sections of the game in the story, they treated Bang Boo as like objects. They weren't necessarily like considered like beings, but it's steadily more and more making Bang Boo seem like children. And I think that's funny. 18. Mostly comes with. Oh, 18, you're so smart. Ruby? One ain't enough, make it two. Uh, oh god. I love that she's like the new air defense force, but it's also telling me she's just telling me that she like crawled up under a blanket and cried for so long. Arya, Arya, what are you doing here? For distraction to get some air. Yeah. It's got to be Grace. It's Grace. Oh god, that's funny. Let's call it a day. Perfect consultation. But yeah, no. Uh, I do genuinely feel like we should get more story, more explanations of shit. More agent stories. Phoenix. Haley. Movie loving ghost. Lucy. Lucy, what are you doing here? Because the manga she hasn't read yet. Just because she ran out of manga to read. Know me. I don't know this person. Something's up with our club's equipment. Yisheng Guang. Equipment broke down again. Fifi. Chili oil into the dipping sauce. Eos, what are you doing here, little buddy? Literally, fucking Eos, Wisen Bell's child, quoted from the Bang Boo event, by the way. Corin. You're already working so hard, Corin. This event is super simple, apparently. That's easy. Well, here we go. Done that. Okay. We got 37 minutes this time. Nowhere near as long as last time. I do still want to say, genuinely, we as players of this game and people who do spend money deserve more agent stories, more lore. Even if it's fucking interconnected with the other Hoyo games, we still deserve more lore for the game itself. We shouldn't settle for less. Because places like... things like Hoyo get away with it because people pay for slot. They're just like, oh, well, if you don't, you know, they're just gonna shut down or whatever. Like, if they genuinely care about, you know, making a game, if a company cares about actually making a game that's worth anything and worth your time, they will care. Genuinely. They will say, yeah, no. We see the feedback, we see, you know, what people want. We are going to make changes. Because it's hitting our fucking budget. It's actually affecting us monetarily. Because even big companies, if you affect them monetarily, they will listen. It's kind of like Pokemon. People buy so much fucking Pokemon shit that the games have just... they are so not as good as they could be. Like, the gameplay is always going to be good because it's a fucking Pokemon game. The gameplay is simple. They already have, like, most of the shit that they're going to be using already programmed, basically. The move list, they don't have to make new moves. They can use mostly the old moves. Maybe add one or two moves. A few fucking Pokemon. You know? They just have a base to already work off of. So they're not really, like, doing nowhere near as much as you fucking think they would be. I hate to be the guy that dashes Pokemon fans. But that's the case, like, and if you hit them in the wallet by not buying products or not buying a game, you know, if you don't buy the products, you don't buy it, you don't pay for them, you don't spend any money on them, then they get the message and they'll start actually listening to people. They'll be like, oh, what are we doing wrong? Why do people not like it? And then if they look at feedback, like more genuine feedback from shit, they'll be like, oh, that makes more sense. We're just not listening to player feedback, or we're not listening to the feedback of our fan base. Which is important. Being a business, you should listen to your player feedback. Because there are too many games that fail in that aspect, or there's too many companies that don't care in that aspect, and they don't do well, and then all of a sudden, you know, like specifically, a good example is people who specifically tailor games to hit a modern agenda without doing anything else. Like, the gameplay is bad, or the story is bad, or the characters are just bad. Like, doing all of that doesn't make your game worth anything. It makes people not want to buy your game because your game is bad. In general, you don't listen to the people who would actually buy your game. You listen to people who don't buy your game. Or don't pay for anything in the game. So again, you hit companies in their wallet, they learn. They will learn a bit. You don't need threats. You don't need none of that. You just hit them in the wallet. And, I mean, I'm not a good example because I spent a gift card that I got for free on Zenless Zone Zero. But I also really wanted Billy. And that goes to show you that if somebody really wants a cool character that they really like, they'll spend money on it. Like, Billy has cool lore. I just wish they would go more into it. Regardless, I don't want this to be a fucking hour-long video like the last one. Sorry. I've been ranting for a bit. But, down below, I have 2 ways that you, the viewer, can support me, the content creator. The first way, you don't even have to spend anything. You don't have to spend anything. You can just click that link, my Honey Game referral code link. You can click it, and in fact, you can make money off of that. I know I'm sounding like a fucking salesman right now, and that's the joke. Genuinely. I've used Honeygain for several years now. I'm not sponsored by them. I mean, I'm way too small to even have a sponsor right now. But I've used Honeygain for so long that it's just in the background at all times on my PC. It doesn't impact performance of even low-end PCs like mine. It doesn't have any impact on performance. It does take a good while of using your device, a couple months, and you'll get $20 out of it, you know? It's not fast. It's none of that. But it's something that you can, like, depend on occasionally. Well, not depend on. You can have a little surprise occasionally, you know? And it's free. Like, of course it's free. You don't have to spend anything to earn this money. All you have to do is use your device. That's it. That is it. You just use the device, and you're earning money. The more you use the device, the more money you earn. Specifically if you're using the device online. It does have to be connected to the internet. I feel like it's more based on, like, what you're searching up and going to different websites and stuff. That seems to get more money out of Honeygain. But regardless, it's still just free money that you didn't do anything for aside from stuff that you would already be doing. And using that link below, you gain $3 in your account when you sign up. And over the course of you earning $20, Honeygain gives me $5. It is a steady drip feed over that period of time. However, it is something that if you don't want to spend money, but you still want to support me other than just watching the videos or subscribing, because I can't get money off of that right now. Anyways, um, that would be a good way to go about it. Now, if you do have a bit of disposable income and you do really like my content, I do have a Ko-fi page where you can donate to me. On that Ko-fi page, I have a $4,000 goal right now for a new laptop. It doesn't say $4,000, but it is $4,000. I keep forgetting to change it because I just don't have my Ko-fi up all of the time to look at it. Because that's all it's gonna be, really, is just like a donations page. I don't plan on... I know things like Patreon, if you don't add anything to the account, it will just shut down. It had to happen in the past, so I'm not using Patreon. Ko-fi seems okay so far. I haven't had it, like, shut down on me. The only times it did was I used to put my old writing up on it, and some of my writing were NSFW, which, understandable, I suppose. I still disagree with, NSFW content on things like Patreon, Ko-fi, should be banned and not supported. But, like, what can you do about it right now, right? That comes from some dumbasses who thought it was a good idea to be like, oh, but what about the children? Like, fuck you. You're not protecting children. You're just mad because you can't do it. But either way, that's a different rant for a different day. My Ko-fi link is down in the description as well. Those are the two ways that you could support me, because liking and subscribing to my channel, liking the videos, subscribing to my channel, that does not get me any money to be able to sustain myself or improve my setup or anything. The only way to support me right now are those two ways. Once I get to the point, if I do, where I can make money on YouTube, I won't be promoting those quite as hard, because then I could earn a bit of money on YouTube like that, I will be more about, saying, oh, hey, like and subscribe, comment on the video, because that boosts me in the algorithm. Like, of course, if I could make money on YouTube, that's what I would do, but I currently can't. I was closer on Twitch, but again, because I had to reset my PC, my Twitch account is locked because it had two-factor authentication. But either way, thank you all so much for watching. I understand I rant a lot, and that's because I like to be me. I like to be unabashedly me on the internet, which some people don't do. And it's obvious people don't do it. It's very obvious when people are just playing a character. Now, am I thinking about a new video where I will be playing a new video series where I will be playing a character? Yes. I am thinking about it. But I might just play it for myself, to be fair, instead of making a video about it. I have been trying the FGO thing to get FGO to run smoother, or more smoothly, sorry. Grammar. But I've not had, like, super successful attempts at it. I don't know what is going on with it. It's just not running properly now. Moo Player isn't when I'm trying to record something. It runs better when I'm not recording, but when I do record something, it just runs like ass. And I don't know why. Because it didn't necessarily do that completely before. But either way, thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Which might be sooner than you think. It depends. I don't know. We'll see.